My name is Richard Mireles, and I want to welcome you to the Prison Post. This is your podcast for conversations surrounding the need to reform prisons from the perspective of formerly incarcerated people, community members, and leaders in the restorative justice movement. The Prison Post will feature an episode every Wednesday with people who are in the fight to restore lives and heal communities. Hey, welcome back, everybody. My name is Richard Mireles. I'm the host of the Prison Post. This is my co-host, the husband of the lovely Sandy Bryant, Jason Bryant here. What's up, Jay?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Glad to be here.
And we've been doing a series on our Ready for Life associates. We have our sixth associate. Normally, a lot of people in other programs call them participants. We call them our associates. And we work together closely over 3 months now. Kyara Banks, we call her Kee B. Kee in the house. Welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to meet you. Or nice to talk to you guys today.
It's good to see you. You're looking great. And you're the sixth one of the associates. We have 14 on deck. Some other people are shy, but here we go. One at a time. We're going to make it happen and get to interview everybody to hear about your lives, to hear about your journeys. One of the things I'd like to just do a brief introduction about Kee. She was a formerly incarcerated youth, and now forging that pathway to stop all lives from entering the justice system. And she's proud to be a part of what she calls dismantling the system of incarceration. She has a great mindset. I think she's the youngest person we've had on all 52 episodes of this podcast. And we'll get to age in a minute if it's appropriate. I think it's inappropriate when you ask someone after a certain age, but under a certain age, maybe it's not. But
yeah, when they're under 40, I think you're okay.
I'm not 40. I just, I drink a lot of prune. I say prune juice. Drink a lot of apple juice. My carrots.
Well, we know you're super mature, Kee, but we also you had an application you filled out that put your age, and we know you're not 40.
Oh yeah.
You mind sharing how old you are? You mind sharing your age?
Yeah. I'm actually 22 years old.
22.
Yeah.
That was a good year.
Well,
what I was saying, go ahead.
Where were you at when you were 22, Rich?
Prison.
Okay, so it wasn't a great year. I was in prison also at 22. So
it was a good year because I was still under 170.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
A little more athletic, but what I want to share was I wasn't going to share, but I'm going to share it anyways. There's one person amongst our associates that everybody always says when they say the name Kee B, they always associate it with swag. And there's this song that I've been hearing recently. Apparently it came out in 2014, but I never heard it. I never heard it before, but it's by DJ Loaf. It's called Try Me. And when she's wearing that hat, and I've seen you, Kee, before, and I don't know why, but when I hear that, it reminds me of you. Have you ever got that before?
Yeah, actually, I've gotten that in high school. That I could be singing that song by DJ Loaf, but yeah, that's a one-hit wonder, and I don't want to be referred to as somebody that's only successful one time in their life.
That's right. So, that's right. No, that's right. You're an all-star.
That's right. Speaking of all-stars, what about sports, Jay?
Yeah, one of the icebreakers we usually do, Kyara, is we talk about sports to some degree. Are you a sports fan? What's your team?
Yeah. Well, football, I try to stay with the home teams, 49ers, Oakland. I just support the Bay Area fully. Of course, sometimes I actually go and support the Baltimore Ravens, though, as well. When it comes to football. Baseball, I'm a super Giants fan. Well, I'm not a super Giants fan. I just say, I played for the junior Giants team when I was in elementary. And I also went to a Giants banquet where I got a couple of baseballs autographed by them. So it was just a really good experience. And ever since then, I've just been Go Giants.
That's awesome.
I've also had an experience with the Warriors as well, where I went to a couple of their practices, and Klay Thompson out there, Curry, they passing you the ball. I've had that experience, so I'm all the way just Bay Area teams.
Well, that's dope. I'm glad to hear that. So, since you are such a heavy supporter of the Bay Area, does that mean that you are also a Raider fan? All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course. Just like
Well,
to pick on you. I just like to pick on you, Jason. That's all.
Yeah, that's been a source of much heartache for me in class at times. We have a few like diehard 49er fans who have no love for my Raiders.
oh no.
But I'm glad to hear that I got some support coming from Kee B. That's dope.
Oh, sometimes Luis wears that Niner shirt a
He
few
wears it
times.
every day. He wears it every day. Either a
Yeah.
Niner
Or a
shirt
beanie
or
or
a
something.
Niner beanie, or he's got a Niner cup, and it's like, okay.
Speaking of the Niners, and sports, I'm gonna have my first opportunity ever this next Sunday to go to a 49er game. It's a training camp game, but I've never been to one before. I did go to a Giants game. I was curious if you went to the old Candlestick Park or to the new park.
I haven't been to any of the new parks yet, but I know it is in season right now, so I'll try to get an opportunity in.
What position did you play? Basketball? Did you play?
Yeah, I played basketball. I played for maybe three or 4 years. I played shooting guard, small forward, point. But I'm more of a shooter. I'm a great defensive player. I'm an all-around player when it comes to things. Honestly, steals. I was MVP. I was captain of my team. So basketball really was a big part of my life. Showed me a sense of like community and home when I was younger. So
That's great.
Key, when I showed a couple of my family members the website with everybody there, all the associates on the Ready for Life page, they said they don't look like they ever been in prison, and they don't look like they've ever been incarcerated. And when you talk about sports right now, when you talk about just coming on the podcast, it's something like how are you the captain of your team, but also a youth who was incarcerated? Would you take us back and tell us a little bit about that story?
I mean, honestly, like me being able to be in sports was my outside life from home, because you can go to
Mm,
school and have straight A's, but nobody knows what's going on, at home or how you really feeling it internally, or just everything that affects you besides school and sports when you're growing up as a kid. Like growing up in a single family home, having handful of siblings and you the only one there to take care of them at night, or at some point in life you can't even go home and you still a child, there's just way there, I don't know how, but like you end up putting yourself in situations that make you do things that you end up regretting in the long run. So just because I was on the basketball team during this time, the rest of that time I was trying to figure out a different move. I'll say
sure.
I was trying to figure out how to put money in my pocket and make sure I had everything I needed, and that involved me being in criminal activities.
Mm. Now, Key, you were raised in Oakland, California,
Yeah, yeah.
and you come from a very big family. Is it fair to say? Is it fair to say that the community around you, that there was a lot of criminality that was prevalent, or like that was kind of the norm?
Um, I mean, yeah. I guess when you go outside and you see day to day life, like everything does seem normal to you. You see people outside making drug deals. You see them putting all that money in their pocket. They getting all fly and stuff. You seeing them having all the stuff you want, and you see them happy. And
Mm,
you see them being in what your words would be at a young age as being successful.
mm,
So yeah, that looked normal to me. It looked normal. It looked fun. It looked appealing. It looked easier.
right.
That's where the comfort comes in that too. When things are easy for you, you get comfortable with it. And
Mm,
so it's the fact that I was able to get away with things for so long. When it did come time for me to get caught up, that's when, reality starts to hit a little bit.
Right.
Right.
What do you think was missing, like in the community itself, to kind of show you at a young age that there was another way?
Um, I mean, that's a good question. Like, what was missing? Like, maybe more of a sense of community. Maybe I feel
Mm,
like with all of the what do they call it, the gentrification that's been happening out here in the Bay Area.
mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of us have been divided up. Our families have moved out of state, into farther cities. So, like, our sense of community, um, mainly as like just African American, we kind of start to lose ourselves a little bit when we don't have a home to go to, you know. So when our grandparents' homes are so everybody goes to their grandparents' house when they don't have nowhere to go. So when they don't have that no more, um, then it takes a big toll because now people's families have to start over. You know,
Right.
they don't have that community anymore. So I would say like the affordable housing, with the rise of uh, the value of homes, that was like a big effect that was going on. So I feel like if we just had more affordable housing available within these past maybe 5 to 8 years,
Mm,
things would be a little bit better. If we had a better relationship, maybe with our police, you know, or not even just that, just better job opportunities for us. I had my first
mm,
job at 14, but I wasn't always allowed to be able to do that job because I had my restrictions with my mom,
mm,
working at nights. I was, like I said, I was the only one to be able to watch my siblings. So, things are always limited. Maybe if she had more funding to help us, she wouldn't have to have work those night shifts as well, you
right.
know? So
Right.
I feel like it's a lot of factors of what we could have had as a community.
Jason shared that you come from a big family. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Can I count? Like, to like, I'm gonna just put like 20 out there for you guys. Like, as
What?
a really, because on my mom's side, I got three little brothers. But if I tell you how many kids my dad had, you
Mm,
would do, yeah, that's like the rest of the family right there.
Is it hard to remember all their names?
Yeah, it is. But I have a obituary because my brother passed away in 2017, so it has a list of our names on them. So I will
Kia,
go grab it.
at what age were you first incarcerated?
You know, I, I honestly think this is funny, but my first time being incarcerated was right after I turned 18, maybe like a week or two. And it's like I never got caught for any of the things that I did beforehand. I don't know if it was because maybe that last time when I was 18, I felt like I was in more of a deeper situation where I was really just for myself at that time. Like, it was just me.
mm,
Uh, but my first time I was 18. Let's see, I graduated high school 2017. I got kicked out of the house probably like a week or two after I graduated. I didn't go home for a while after that. But I ended up getting into, I didn't have anything. I didn't have no shoes on my feet. So that was like a major problem for me. I didn't have no shoes on my feet. And I just needed, uh, I needed things like personal things. So I
mm,
took it upon myself to go and gather the things that I needed. And I didn't go about it, of course, the proper way. And the police decided that they wanted to teach me a lesson. This is the exact words of the police. Like, I'm telling them my age, my birthday, and like, she just turned 18. Other cops like, maybe we should just let her go. The other cops like, well, maybe we should just teach her a lesson. So I had my opinion on how that situation went because people like me are always angry at the system because it's not fair. And so I
mm,
felt like they juggled my life in their hands at that moment, you know, with
Yeah.
them having that debate in front of me.
Sure.
And so that's how that was like my first taste of the justice system not being fair, you know. So that's a bit of my first experience going in.
So I have two questions, but I guess we should ask them in order. The first one I want to know is, like, when did you have that aha moment that you needed to do something different? That some of the behaviors you had engaged in when you were younger, and ultimately, like with your incarceration, that wasn't going to work for your future. When did you come to that decision?
I think I came to it every time I went inside. Because I've been inside more than one time,
Mm.
but I think it didn't confirm that this was like a decision, like I have to do this, was until my last run, which
Mm.
was last year, and I could have almost spent life in jail because of A, B, and C.
Mm.
That was the biggest shock for me in my in my life, that I was going to be in one spot for the
Right.
rest of my life.
So you were looking at possibly receiving a life sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So just being in there, calling my family, and me feeling like I'm not gonna be able to see them again, it took a big toll on me.
Key, you know, there's like we've shared in Ready for Life that there's power in specificity. Do you remember that day? And you said this last time, you know, this last time I said that's it. But do you remember that day and what your thought process was in that moment? I mean, Jason and I know what it's like. I mean, we weren't 18, but we were 20, and to be told you're going to get life. That's your sentence. Life in 25, 26 to life in prison. And I just remember like thinking that I was going to die in there. And what was I thought I was going to die in there, and I felt ashamed to my family, that I had failed them, that I had failed myself, that I had allowed myself to go this far to now get a life sentence. And nobody else in my family had ever been to prison. And so you're there in that moment. Do you remember that day and some of what you were going through?
Yeah. Honestly, like the beginning of it was just anger and confusion, because when I got arrested, I had a warrant, and I didn't know I had this warrant out for my arrest. So when I got picked up, I was confused. So I spent the beginning of it trying to figure out, did they have the right person? Because I was looking at them charges. I was looking at I'm like, they got the wrong one. I'm like, this ain't me. They don't have me for these charges right here at all. Like, I couldn't believe it whatsoever. So it wasn't really up until I got to talk to my lawyer, and she explained to me the amount of time I could get for each charge,
Mm.
that like everything was hitting me. Like, this charge was 10 years, that charge was 25 to 60, that charge is for life. I'm like, and then she like, you technically, like, you put all this together, that's life, you know, that's life in jail. So I couldn't, like, I still had to keep asking her, like, do they have the right person? Like, I need to make sure, like, this is me, you know? Because, like, I needed her to explain the story to me, the situation. I'm like, I was in shock, because I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for those type of charges. Like, even though I had did what I had did, in those moments, it's a completely different situation. Luckily, the courts, as y'all can see, I am here today. The court saw it in my favor. They knew they felt the incident was in self defense, and you know, maybe that was my first taste of some type of justice. But the fact that I sat in there for that amount of time, and I had to go through that shock right there to get my life together, to say that I want to do something new in my life and actually change myself for the better and others. Like, that was like the end of the line for me, not to be able to see my family again in the ways I want to, not to be able to go enjoy myself, not to be able to say I made it. I felt like a disappointment when I was in there. I felt like a failure because people always told me that I could be more than what I am, but I've never taken it upon myself to go be more. I've always just done what I had to. So now I feel like it's just time. It's time to be more.
That's awesome.
I want to ask my other question that was on my mind. Key, you were sharing about the first time that you had contact with the criminal justice system, and there were the two officers that were, juggling, as you said, juggling your life in their hands. And I mean, part of me wonders, like, what would have happened if the first officer who was saying maybe we should let her go would have won the argument, and where you might be today. And not just as if like they just cut you loose, but if they actually, offered you some support, some guidance, and some mentorship. Like that question is on my mind and my heart. It's more hypothetical, but practically speaking, in actuality, what have been some of the consequences for you? Some of the negative effects of having a criminal conviction on your record in terms of housing, in terms of employment, in terms of your life?
When you ask me that question, I can instantly think of all the positive effects it would have had for me. Mm-hmm. The negative effects, I can see the answers people want. Okay, they let me go. That means I'm going to sit up there and be a repeat offender. That is not the case. That is not what it did for me whatsoever. Them trying to teach me a lesson just made me angry. Mm-hmm. It made me feel like this is maybe the life I'm finna be living now because I have this statement on me now. Mm-hmm. If they would have let me go, maybe I would have tried to go home to a different family member and try to find support in a different way. But instead, I sat in jail and didn't know what to do. I was confused. I was alone, and I ended up living with what we would call a dope fiend for a couple months in a car, and continuing to do more criminal acts that I should not have been doing. For a long period of time, I ended up doing way too many regrettable things because I ended up being inside of there and meeting those people who said they would help me and take care of me while I was in there. I was still young. I had just turned, I wasn't even 18 for more than like 2 weeks. But because then people said they would support me in that time, I continued to go down that path inside with those people. Mm. Even though I was that person as well, I had it's influence being in there as well.
Sure.
It's people in there telling you, "Well, you fine, man. You gonna get out. Don't even worry about what you did." It's certain people. It's certain mental that you can have when you go in there. So I feel like it would have been more positive effects for me to be let go than for me to spend my time in jail.
Where were you incarcerated at, Key?
Santa Rita.
Santa Rita. And is that a prison or?
No, that's a jail. It's a jail. It's towards Dublin, Pleasanton.
What about the programs inside of the county jail? Was there anything made available to help you?
See, that's the thing. Like programs, I feel like those are really for men. That's a man's thing is for y'all to have more programs because when you go like as a female, they don't like our funds. They feel like our funds go on our personal hygiene things that we need, which is like, I feel like, of course, it's a factor, but I feel like they can't hold that against us because we need those things as well. So exactly. I feel like some of our funding is put put it on blame there. But as far as programs, I don't know no programs.
Really?
All those programs that y'all listed, like the ones y'all used to talk about in the crop cohort, I don't know about any of those programs. When I was in when I was in there this last time, like the only thing they could offer was like support to if you had kids, you know? Like that's the kind of support that they'll offer you inside of there. Or they offer classes, they offer church classes, you know, so you can keep yourself together, you know? Programs are not something that I know of.
Wow.
That's
That's
interesting.
And honestly, if you guys wanted to go inside of any jail or any probably women's prison, they'll probably tell you the same thing.
that's
And
sad.
those women are still sitting in there to this day, um, going on like maybe their 9th year sitting in there with nothing, with their lawyers pushing them off, saying, you know, they got other things coming up and they'll see you in the next 3 months or I'll see you next year. You get one court date a year sometimes. So there's no program offering us real support until we actually get out of here.
So in spite of that, that was just last year. And in spite of that, here we are a year later. You've completed the leadership development portion, Leadership for Life, with Crops Ready for Life program. You've completed the financial literacy portion. You're headed into the next part of the program, which includes the career development training. I would like to know if Jay would unpack what that is in a minute, but also you go from there to here, not even a year later. How did you even first hear about us, Crop Organization? You got 5 formerly incarcerated approximate leaders, all sentenced to life at one time, 112 years. You're in Santa Rita County Jail. We're out here in Sacramento, starting a program out there in the Bay Area. And then all of a sudden our two worlds interact. How's that happen?
Well, for one, it goes right back to the streets. You know, I was homeless. I was sleeping in my car with my family. Before I got arrested this last time. So during that meantime, I was trying to find a lot of free housing. I was hotel hopping, couch hopping, all the stuff. So I finally got me like an SRO. So people know what an SRO is. It's like a smaller hotel room, personal sometimes for a family. So I got into one of those programs, and my caseworker knows me very well. He was going through the process with me of me being on house arrest and everything like that, and so he found a place for me to be. Now, with him doing that, he has been working with me for months, and I told him, like, I would need a job. I need a good paying job so I can get out of this situation. I need to be able to take care of my family. Especially since I'm just the main provider. That's just how I like things to be. I prefer them that way. He just sent me a bunch of emails. At first it was like construction. At first it was EMT. Then he sent me this one specifically for people who were incarcerated. And so that's what caught my eye off the bat. Because that's all I could think in my head was like, I'm never going to get a real job because of my incarceration background. Because when I got out, I applied for a job. I'm always on myself off the rip. As soon as I get out, I got me an Obama phone, I got me an EBT card. I leave like next day. I gotta get myself together. But when I try to apply for a job, it's like doing DoorDash or Postmates, Checker. You know these courier jobs where you just drive around and just drop off food. I was denied having a job because of my background check that popped up. And that hurt my soul. That hurt my soul that I couldn't even drop off food to somebody for a living, just for a little bit. I knew I had to do something to change. So when I found this opportunity right here to be able to be in the tech industry, and they know that whether they know or not, whether or not I've had this background and have that opportunity, is amazing to me because it's a growing industry. so I can always grow within it as well. And I'll be able to provide not only for myself but in my family. I have my end goal, and I feel like this program is going to help me meet my end goal.
That's great.
What is
We're doing everything we can to ensure that's a reality. That's for certain. And just speaking to Richard's question, so Key and her fellow associates are moving into the second portion of our Ready for Life program, which is the skill portion, the hard skill development. And just last night, Key and I were on a Zoom call, an orientation with Climb Higher, which is going to be providing our associates with CX training, or customer experience training, which is inbound sales. And that training is going to be supplemented through Checkers delivery of outbound sales development representative in tech as well. So we're going to make sure that our associates have all that they need to enter into good paying careers in tech and sales, both inbound and outbound. Some pretty exciting stuff on the horizon. I wanted to ask you another question, Key, about reentry services. So as you said, you've been in a couple times, and each time you paroled. I'm curious what your experience has been with some of the reentry services that have been provided by the city, the state, what have you.
I think that's what I mean by, like, I really don't know any programs that come into the jails and be like, we have these services for you. Well, I mean, there are some, but you have to meet a certain criteria in order to be a part of those programs. And so, like, I reside in San Francisco. Out here, the main programs are if you basically are a drug addict, they will house you and release you into a program within maybe 30 to 60 days. That is what we have funding for out here in San Francisco. From what the public eye, from the internal eye can see, is that that's what they care about as far as rehabilitation for people who are incarcerated, is to help them get help in situations like that. But when you're somebody who committed well, depending on the type of crime you committed, those services are not available to you. So when I get released,
Yeah.
I get a BART ticket, maybe some cash, and I go about my day. You know, like you just continue.
No direction for a career, no direction.
I've never had like someone was like, oh, go here when you get out, and then they'll help you with this. I've always had to sit there and figure something out for myself.
Yeah. And Key, you find out about Crops Ready for Life program, and you hear that there's opportunities upon graduation, making 65, possibly up to 90,000 starting. And how do you feel about that when you learn about that? A 6-month program or a 1-year program, you can do that. I mean, even with at best over there at DoorDash, it might be $20 an hour, 22, something like that, and you have this opportunity here with Crop, and it's been a pleasure working with you, with Jason as well. And at 22, the future is bright. I wish I go back 22, do it all over again. But when you hear that,
going strong,
when you hear that, especially somebody who bears the burden willingly to provide for their family, what are your thoughts?
Lord, thank you. That's the first thing I want to say. Honestly, like it don't seem real. It don't seem real, Like,
Did you think we were putting one over on you, or you think like, is this for real?
At first, I did. At first, I thought this was a joke. I'm like, playing. Jason playing. I'm like, Jason ain't nah. I'm like, he's not part of this program. He's too much of a joker. Like, he this can't be real. And then I don't know. Then we get all these like visitors coming and all these guest speakers just giving us like real experiences and really just educating us on the things that we need to know in the future. And then reality kicks in. And it's like I do need to get with this, pay attention. Then when you talk about numbers, 65,000 or whether it's 40 to 100 and 100,000 starting, that's amazing for me because I had my first job out of middle school, and I think I started at when I started at maybe like $9, $8 or $9 an hour. Um, that was nothing. That's nothing in California. Like, and I'm living in
Especially
California
in San
though. But
Francisco.
look, that's what I'm. That is right, exactly. But that's what I was making though. That's how I supported myself. That's how I put myself through high school and had my school clothes and transportation and all that. That's how I had my stuff together. Then I moved to Georgia a couple years later. Actually, as an adult, I worked as a manager at a Dollar General and still only made about $9. So I do have my value on money. I truly do. But I do have a bigger picture here when it comes to just having my meaning to life and being able to help other people. Like the money is all good, but I want to be able to say I did something. I had an effect on people. The money is gonna help me get there. It's gonna help me be able to invest in myself and build my future. So once again, thank you. I'm highly and truly grateful. Crop is going. It's gonna shoot to the stars. I'm telling y'all. I know we had government funding for this. Like, yeah, this is pretty dope. This is like one of the best opportunities I've had in my life. So I for surely made sure I got on it. We had testing like 2 weeks ago, so like that whole week before was just studying. Like whenever you guys, the IC3, the IC3. Yeah. So if anybody decides to join the CROP program, please take full advantage of that. It is. It's everything. Trust me, you'll be fully comfortable with it. It's smooth sailing. I'm pretty sure like you'll have a great teacher in the next cohort. No offense, Jason.
Is that a carom shot? Was that like the next cohort will have a great teacher? Like
nah.
Mediocre, but next one will be great.
But I really do support this program because it is very supportive. Like everybody in the program has like a different personality. So no matter where you're coming from, your background, Jason, Richard, they all understand where you're coming from. A lot of us don't like asking for help, but these people right here, you can ask for help. So
that's great. Appreciate that. Your testimony leads me into a couple different thoughts. The first one is, because there's such a lack of programming in women institutions, I'm curious what your experience has been being a part of a program that is, directed, facilitated, and comprised completely of formerly incarcerated people. What's that been like for you?
It's safe. It's been what I feel like somebody like me needed, because I wouldn't have done it if this was just like a regular program. Honestly, I wouldn't have done it because I've seen other programs. Like I've seen other tech companies offer their job training, and the first thing that throws us off is that I got to pay for it but I can't afford that. I just got out of jail. I just got out of jail. Nobody wants to hire me to pay me enough to even afford to save money to get into that program. So with this program, I didn't have to pay for anything. I just I didn't have to pay for anything. The incentives were great. They provided a laptop. They provided multiple different types of training. Everything that they said that they were going to do motivated me to continue, and then they did it. So that's just how everything went about for me.
That's dope.
Awesome.
Appreciate that.
I
Also, I want to ask one more question, Rich, before you jump in there.
Go ahead.
So earlier on, when we were talking about kind of your upbringing and the community and some of the things that were missing, the word community really struck a chord with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to believe that we are building a community among our associates and inside of our organization. I want to know your experience of that community, Key. Like, what do you think of your fellow associates and the time that you spend with them in the learning environment?
Honestly, like I was surprised by my associates. Like a lot of them are very smart. You know, they're outgoing. A lot of them have knowledge that I didn't expect them to have. You know, like when people think of people who are incarcerated, I was expecting a group of just a bunch of thugs, you know, just in there, just hanging out, just chilling, you know, cameras off. But no, like people are here, people are talking, people are giving each other opportunities and putting each other on to things. And when somebody don't have something, we looking out for each other. I love that. I love that sense of community and family. Like I don't I've never been in too many programs where you could have an entire family. Like maybe you'll be friends with like one or two people in the group, but I really feel like everybody in the group knows each other in a sense where they care about each other and we want to see each other make it.
I feel like with our community, we've spent more time on these Zoom calls from 5:30 to 9:30. I'm only on till 7:30, but y'all have been on over 3 months now, going on the fourth month of 5:30 at night till 9:30 at night. And just the other day, you got to meet up with Claudine at City Team, and you met Jason and Ted and Matt, and I wasn't able to make it out there. But what was it like actually seeing Jason or some of the other associates for the first time? Did something stick out to you? Do you think he would be taller or anything like that?
Honestly, that's why I was waiting to see you, Richard. I wanted to see how tall you were.
Are you sure?
Actually, yeah, Jason, you're like you're average height, man. We're around the same
Don't
height.
let the secret out. Don't let the secret out.
Like he's 6'6".
Don't let the secret out.
You know, everybody liked. I don't know. I liked it though. I liked the energy. Like everything felt real right then. Like for me, since I'm so young, just being in the situation where we were all talking about, business and just getting our stuff together, making sure things were organized. That felt like a real moment for me where I was like, okay, I like this. Like maybe this will be me, maybe I'll be in the office, maybe I'll have a projector and I'll be saying a PowerPoint or something like that. It just made me feel really comfortable to come in and meet everybody. So I can't wait till graduation, of course.
That's awesome. I see a future entrepreneur in the making. I see greatness in you, Key. When you fully let that smile loose, it's infectious. People are going to listen to you. All of that stuff is possible and so much more. You'll take the training from our program, get all that information in the brain and figure out how to monetize it and create your own thing one day. And we're possibly talking to a future billionaire here later on in life, and maybe you'll be hiring us one day. But I want to say this though: 22 years old, most of my life I struggle with limiting beliefs about myself. I mean, especially with intelligence, not thinking I was smart enough to go to college. Here you are about to take the IC3 digital literacy certification. You're studying all week, 22 years old with everybody else. Did you have any limiting beliefs about yourself that came up? Like, can I really do this? Can I cut this? Can I do this 5:30 to 9:30 every night for 6 months? Especially I know you're working a full-time job sometimes, and you're I don't know if you still are, but I remember sometimes you were at class while working your job until you got off. And that's part of what it takes, that commitment, that dogged determination that I'm going to make it and nothing's going to deter me. And here you are. But was there anything in your mind saying, I don't know. I don't know if I could cut it. And how did you break through that if there was?
Um, yeah, I have I would say mine is more of like an emotional boundary where they have this expectation for you to be one way, you know? And I'm a very fluid person. So, like, what would hold me back personally would be like, I don't know, like for me, I don't like to be emotional, you know? I don't like to open my life up to people when they see me cry or what some people would call weak or some people would call strength. You know, I don't like to show that emotion too much. But what Jason and Richard really wanted us to do was to embrace who we really were and our emotions and be able to let us know like it's like everything is it's okay. You know, I felt like they did give us it's okay. That it's okay that you were incarcerated. It's okay that you were a felon. It's okay that you were a prisoner. You know, it's okay because now you're not anymore. You know, and me like I was going down that path. I was going down that path of I don't care no more. I don't care. I'll keep coming back. I'll keep putting myself back in this bad place as long as they keep letting me out. I was fine with that cycle. Crop made me want to change my mental and my emotions that were holding me back. Cause honestly, like it was still a battle. Everybody knows what fast money is. Fast money is money that you really don't have to work for. You just kind of gotta be like the entrepreneur. You gotta have a mouthpiece more when it's fast money. So it's a little bit easier than going out there and working at 9 to 5. It's easier than me being in class with Jason from 5:30 to 9:30 when I could just go outside and make way more than what he's currently giving me within these couple hours. It's an internal battle there, not to just change my mind and go back that way. Sure. But I feel like with me motivating myself to finish out and continue to be here and to have a bigger dream, that makes me win my battle.
Yes, indeed. There's an old saying, if you don't want what you've been getting, then you might want to try something new, right? And I want to commend you for not trying, but doing something new in your life for yourself, for your family, for your community. And I want to invite you into just a little bit of a vision casting session. And if you'd be willing to share with us, Kee, what is your vision for your life 5 years from today? Where are you at? What are you doing? What's going on?
Okay, that 10-year plan. My plan, I always have a family in my plan. It's like, that's just who I am. I love having a family. Love having support around me, good energy, vibes. But honestly, where I see myself, like where I want to see my face, I want to see myself in the school systems. I want to be able to target young minds at an early age so that their thoughts aren't drawn to negativity. I want to make it easier for us to learn things that, you know, life wants us to know, and I want them to be able to retain that. So my end goal is to implant a learning system into the entire United States, if I can, that improves test scores, SAT scores. I'm more of the background that I want to target is like 6th to 12th grade, but that is my 10-year plan there.
How much money you making?
How much? Well, that's why I said like the money part really isn't a factor, but I did kind of incorporate that that I will be making a pretty penny doing what I'm doing in the future.
One of my favorite motivational speakers says, "Money ain't everything, but money don't make you happy, but it sure helps."
It sure helps. It helps make things easier. That's for sure.
It feels good. It feels good to have a little extra, because especially when you're a giving person, and I see that in you, Key. When I was growing up, I remember being poor, and I didn't get my first pair of Jordans or Nikes until I was in 10th grade. And I remember having the Payless XJ 900s and being made fun of at school because from a distance they look like Nikes, but when you get close, they're like, "What are those XJ 9000s?" And I remember getting
them yikes, huh? No, that's what they call those. Yikes.
Yep. And getting made fun of, and you know how it is in middle school and high school. Remember having 5 pairs of pants and just limited amount of shirts and trying to mix it up and going and having sticky fingers to try to have something different to wear, and going to work after school as well. And now I think about my nieces and nephews growing up, and with the job that I have with Crop, being able to bless my sister the other day with some extra money for her 3 kids as the first one enters 6th grade and kindergarten and 1st grade, and to be able to say, here's this, and get them the clothes that they want and get them the shoes that they want, and make sure they get some things that they choose, that they like, and the backpack that they want. And it does help us to make a difference in other people's lives. And I know that you want to do that as a person who loves family and loves community. I'm curious, we got a few more minutes here. What's one of the biggest things that has stuck out to you in this 4 months with Jason, with our team of 14? Something that someone said that you'll never forget. Sometimes we ask people, "What's your favorite quote?" or "What's your favorite experience?" Is there something that stuck out to you that you won't forget, that motivates you or challenged you in some way?
It's not really like what someone said. It's actually just the program itself. Like, you guys also have similar backgrounds, and now you're here teaching, but y'all not stopping here. Like, that's what I'm taking from this. Like, that's the main thing I'm taking. Y'all are not stopping here. When you guys come in, y'all always telling us something new that y'all trying to do for us. And so I'm grateful for all those new opportunities y'all are continuing to try to give us. So that always makes me want to do more. It makes me want to sign up for the next program. It makes me want to continue to be motivated. So that is what I take from Crop.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Wouldn't the world be a better place if everyone had the attitude of not only gratitude, but looking for ways to pay it forward and add value to the lives of others? So I appreciate that we have had some impact on your heart and your thinking in that way, Key. And just super excited about your future and all the ways that you're going to contribute to the community at large.
Thank you.
Key, it's been a blessing and an honor to have you on the Prison Post with us. This is our 52nd overall show. I remember when we first started, we're on today with Darling New Media podcast studios with Nate Darling. And I remember putting our first podcast on YouTube and getting them first 5, 6, 7 subscribers, and getting to 50 and 60 and wondering, man, could we ever make it to creator mode at 1,000? And how do we get this with where we want to go without the marketing dollars that some people have? and sharing and continuously giving back. And I love what you say about giving, because I think being of service is the true way to stay free, internally and externally. And here we are now at 1,080 subscribers, and a lot of different views, and building this out. And it's every one of these podcasts we've done have featured somebody who has a story. Everybody has a story, and your transformational story, you're unique to us, and not only as an associate in the Ready for Life program, but also as a youngest person to come on the show, and to have the charisma and the smile, and as Jay says, the swag. We're just grateful for you. The future is bright. Love your 10-year vision, and it'll probably be way more than what you thought it would be. I know when we cast our 10-year vision, we could have never have imagined that it's been so much more than what we cast back then for our 10 years back in 2012, 2013. It's been so much more. And so keep striving, being committed, dedicated, and being your best. Waking up every day. For me, I put on them motivational videos, business videos, or YouTube.
Putting on LinkedIn videos, that's what I'm doing right now.
That's right. Seeing you on LinkedIn and doing your thing. But thank you again for coming on the show. Do you have any final words you'd like to share?
Yeah, thank you guys again. Like, Crop is just amazing. It is a real opportunity. Do not take it for granted if you do join the program. Once again, they're sacrificing their time, even their money, just for us to succeed in life. So truly, I am grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Kee.
Thank you. Well, I just want to say this. Kee made a comment about, us reaching the stars, and you can only do it when we have associates and colleagues like yourself, who are willing to put in the hard work, be in the hard conversations. And, you are the proof in the proverbial pudding of what transformation looks like and success looks like. So thank you.
That's right. That's right. And I won't ever mistake you for Dej again. All right. Well, to those who are listening, please share with your friends. You could subscribe to us on YouTube. On YouTube, of course. Follow us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're on all the major podcasting places, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And learn more about CROP, Creating Restorative Opportunities and Programs. You can go to our website at croporganization.org. There will be a link there to our link tree, take you to all of our social media channels, and show you all the great things that we're a part of. You can see who our associates are, see some of the other podcasts that we've done with them, the amazing transformative work that they've done in their lives, and the ways that they're committed to a future worth having. Thank you, Kee, for coming on the show. This has been another episode of the podcast. Thank you, Jason.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to The Prison Post, a production of the CROP organization. We'll be sharing more stories from the world of prison reform and restorative justice, so please join us. You can listen to The Prison Post on all major podcasting platforms. Subscribe to our video cast on YouTube, and like us on Facebook at The Prison Post and at Creating Restorative Opportunities and Programs.